So now that we know that a foundation update is on the way, let's take a moment to just realistically talk about base building in No Man's Sky. And I've had a lot of time to play this game and a lot of time to really consider if this would be a viable feature, and I'm still kind of torn on the idea. As it stands right now, No Man's Sky, when it comes to base building on planets, I don't know, it just doesn't work. And here's my thought process behind this. For one, even if you just take it at its core understanding, base building has to have a reason behind it. Here's a few things that I can think of. Firstly, it has to be a main base, and it has to be a place where you can take and hoard all of your items, right? All of us, we tend to hoard a little bit when we have items of value, and that's a problem that No Man's Sky faces usually is there's a constant churn of resources that you need to expend and save and trade, and really even having a ship doesn't really give you a whole lot of place to put that stuff. Then that base also has to serve as a place of safety, right? A place where you go. Now, we know environmental hazards exist, but really, when was the last time that you had to run and get away from a clear and present danger other than environmental issues, right? Like a horde of alien creatures coming after you. So when you look at games like Minecraft checks all of those boxes. If you've ever played Minecraft survival mode, you know exactly why base building makes so much sense in a game like Minecraft, and why there is such a risk versus reward type of mechanic in a game like Minecraft, because it allows you to set off in a journey, but you don't feel like you want to go too far away. You have your main base, you have your place to sort of discard all of your items, and there's a sense of inherent and living progression, as you will, in a game like Minecraft, because you're constantly looking for resources, you're constantly looking for a way to build up your kingdom. And even though there's no real way to judge what kind of an in-game Minecraft presents for you, and a game like Minecraft isn't for everybody, but there's a constant sense of progression. And even though there's no clear ending or end goal in Minecraft, so to speak, really there's still an addiction to that. My very first weekend with Minecraft was spent just exploring, and I was so addicted to this game because it got the core gameplay loop correct, which is emergent gameplay. Really, emergent gameplay is the idea that it takes little small systems and delivers these gameplay mentalities to you without any expectation. No Man's Sky doesn't really do that. I don't think No Man's Sky has an identity to itself. So you think about it, it's a traveling game. It's an exploration game. It is some of those things, it is all of those things, it is none of those things, and it doesn't really nail down its core concept. And Sean Murray keeps saying that this or that is not core to the game, but I don't even know that he knows what the core of the game is. So right now, there's not a whole lot of room to sort of define your own gameplay loop, because really there's just not enough tangibility, there's not enough substance to the game to be able to do that. So here's a bad way that No Man's Sky can handle base building. Judging by what we know about the game so far, there's no real social aspect to it. There's no real reason to stay on any of the planets. I mean, some might be greater than others when it comes to maybe say resource farming and things like that. But when was the last time, outside of finding a portal and not being able to activate it, that you found something worthwhile staying on a planet for? That's the kind of the question we have to ask for this. And then also, why would I stay on a planet to house resources if there's no real reason for me to stay there? Planets have to have a reason, a short-term and long-term goal that would give you a reason to stay on a planet, or a quick reason, maybe like a home base or something that would give you a quick way to warp back to this place. And then what would happen if you leave the planet? Will it stay there? Will it go away? With that thought in mind, let's talk about how No Man's Sky can do base building correctly, or how it would sound appealing, how it actually would work as a concept. First off, you've got to put a social aspect there, right? When you look at the Foundation update, it only talks about base building, but I'm wondering if they're priming the game for something more, and hopefully the eventual adding of a social aspect like a co-op or a multiplayer type game mode, right? But let's think about it. If you build a base on a planet, will it stay there? And will it be discovered by another player? Can it be discovered by another player? That would be interesting if you just land on a planet and you see this randomly not procedurally generated place, because let's say we know we've seen tons of these buildings before, and we kind of know what they look like now, right? And that's another way that this game could do that bad, if base building is really just building sort of the compartmentalized structures that we see right now that exist on planets, and that's just a huge waste of time. So there's got to be a little bit more of a creativity aspect to it. But when we think about how it can be done right, you almost have to change the entire makeup of how the game works, right? You have to give somebody a reason to be able to hang out on a planet long term, because right now I have yet to find a planet that has sort of made me feel required to stay there long term, right? I might stay a little bit longer on a planet than I normally would, maybe based on resource farming and trading, but other than that, I'm constantly on the move. So how can Hello Games convince me that staying on one planet for a given amount of time, other than as a home base, what can they do to convince me to do that? How can they change the core mechanic and change the gameplay loop to make that a appealing idea? But I really think they may not have to change the core philosophy of the game at all. If they sort of mend their mentality around the idea of having a mobile base. And we've seen this in games, or at least as a concept prior to, when you look at, speaking of Minecraft, the folks at Minecraft were sort of prototyping a game called Ox10C. I'm not exactly sure if that's how you say that, but there was a ship generation where you would build your own starship and land on planets with it. That game inevitably got canceled, unfortunately, but that's the kind of concept that we're looking for. If you want a tangible concept, if you want a sort of living base where you can check the boxes of survival, you can check the boxes of maybe housing one or more ships of yours, really the best bet would be to be able to build your own space stations or build your own sort of freighter, right? And we also talked about, since the game released, the concept of buying or purchasing freighters, which is really cool, but really excited to see how they handle this, knowing what we know about the game now. And the concept of a foundational update makes sense, because it sort of gives an implication that they're ready to prime this game to sort of evolve it past what it already is. So let me know what you think base building could do for the game in the comment section below. And of course, if you thought this video brought up a good subject, I would appreciate a like, and would love to see you in the future if you've subscribed. But otherwise, have a great weekend.